and you're going to be in for some competition here. However, the books I got have notes like 5 in a stanza. That's about all I can do. But we'll have a contest one of these days. Good morning, everyone. You know what I appreciate about this teaching is the diversity, and I just love it. We say bears, and we got that Easter bunny over there going, "Yeah, what of it?" What of it? So I got pink ears. So what? You know. And we have this little measly elephant that's so darn adorable. And we've got, the Captain America. Just so much, isn't it fun? And then we've got the section of bears that are following a trend. The Rayleigh's blend. Yeah. Bonnie shared with us that there's a win-win. How does that work, Bonnie? Where's Bonnie? How does that work?
If you buy the bear, you get to take it home. So it could be for Operation Blue Santa, or it could be for anyone on your Christmas list. But Rayleigh's matches for $10 for the bear, and those are the little ones over there. They match that $10 so that fills half a bag of groceries, and then they match it so they fill the bag the rest of the way. So you're feeding a family plus kids.
Yeah. Rayleigh's, yeah, $10 for all of that good. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, they're a lot of fun. So I'm going to share with you something you've never heard before, forgiveness. Oh boy! That's what I wanted to come here today to hear. And I'm going to share with you the wisdom of Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. This is his book. It's a book that's been around for quite a while, but I love it because I love in this teaching how we evolve a thought. Forgiveness is a spiritual practice that has been with us for a lifetime, and especially Jesus brought that home to us on the cross when he was still doing forgiveness work right there on the cross. And it reminds us of the opportunity we each hold in our own heart to continually be a part of this beautiful forgiveness practice. So Colin brings something to us called the radical. There's traditional forgiveness and there's radical is what he points our way to. And why I bought these binoculars, because I want to share a concept that he brings up, how we look at our world. We all have our different perception, and even if you've ever looked through binoculars, when you can see something closer up, of course, but with more detail, but you're still seeing it so different when someone will say, "Look at that bird," and you grab it and you're going, "What bird? Where's there a bird?" And they go, "It's right there on that limb," and you're just trying so hard to focus in on what they see. But you can only see through your eyes what you see. And so that's perceptual field. Are you too warm? Yeah, how's everybody? It's making me hot. So I look at you. Are you hot? It seems like it. Thank you. Yeah. Blessings on our heater, yes. We're all now to bring fans with us. So he speaks of looking at our world. One world, as we look through our lens, is the world of divine truth, absolute love, all of the qualities of the divine, all the wholeness that we sometimes separate ourselves from when we get caught in our way, get caught in our own way. And the other field is the world of humanity. So we see both all the time. And why I get excited about this simple idea is it explains the mystery to me. It really explains the mystery. I'm looking at humanity. I'm looking at myself, my separate egoic self through this one lens, And at the same time, I'm looking at it through the lens of holy truth, of scripture, of a way, of the divine love that I'm never separated and that we all dwell in. This is the eye that sees the oneness. This is the eye that sees the diversity and sometimes the confusion out there. But we're trying to bring it into focus so that when we look through the lens, we see one. So think about that in your own reflections as we share these ideas. We're grounded in our human experience, but we're connected through our soul. And do we have a life mission with our soul? Why not believe that? Why not? It helps give us direction. Can you prove it? I don't know. But it gives me life, and it gives me hope, and it gives me focus to continually strive for the wisdom of all the teachers, to be that in my own heart, to be connected in my soul. To me, that is heaven and earth. That is that consciousness, that higher consciousness, that vibration. I want to live in that realm and to be able to sense my world and to operate my being from that vision of that vibrational field, yet also be able to move through my five senses in my human nature and deal with what is, deal with the heart that sometimes gets triggered, that sometimes gets its feelings hurt. And so he talks about these fields, and I share with you this idea. The world of humanity and the world of divine represent the two ends of a vibrational scale. When we vibrate at a low frequency, our bodies can become more dense, and then we're in just the world of humanity, bumping around into each other like bumper cars. When we vibrate at the high level, which makes our body become lighter, right? Because you even feel the sense of lightness of your being, this rapture of sense of, oh, I'm free of what was. My heart is expanded. This whole vibrational field makes our bodies lighter, and we exist in the world of divine truth. Depending on your vibration, at any moment, we move up and down that scale. So the world of humanity represents the world of objective reality, what we see outside ourselves. As a world of form, it provides the setting in which we live our everyday lives, as well as the reality we experience through our five senses. It holds energy patterns of our experiences throughout a lifetime. This body holds all that. And it provides us an environment for which to work on our spiritual understanding. And so we have this physical body, and we're working with and probably transcending many different experiences. You all have yours. It is the human condition to move in and out of experiences, to feel the heart, oh, that hurt me. Or to feel like, oh, that glorifies my heart. I am so expanded. We shrink and expand. It's all part of it. It's all part of being in the world of humanity. Now, the world of divine, on the other hand, has no physical form and carries an energy pattern of eternality. It carries an idea of infinite abundance, love, and unity with the divine. Even though we cannot perceive this world with our senses, see, that's where it gets kind of into the mystery. It gets tricky. Wait, what was it? I'm back in my humanity. Dang it. Yeah, I know. The baby's crying. I know. Babies know because they're so much in that world of the divine truth. And so this idea of prayer, meditation, forgiveness, this raises that vibration. You know that? You feel that? You know when you've done that. You know when you've really let go of something that's been hanging around. So think about those terms of this idea of the forgiveness and what is stopping this flow inside of you. It can feel like a tension. It can be an old painful experience of memory, a guilt that you've been kind of harboring, some state of condemnation, you've been right. You've been right. But you don't have to prove it. Just know I was right and let it go. But no, I was really right. No, I was. And that person wasn't. So do you hear me? Yeah. It's okay. No, okay. But you don't feel like you really think I'm right, do you? And so we carry this around trying to prove something when really the invitation is to, okay, be right and put it down. And so there's that spacious freedom, that sense of, shared in the earlier service, William Martin's beautiful work with the Tao, with that Tao consciousness, with that place where the conditioned mind is set free. And we have that sense of not responding so much to all the different little sub-personalities that we develop along the way. Those sub-personalities are annoying, or they're so right, or they're helping us. They're the hand that leads us out of trouble. So we want to look at everything is trying to move and evolve in our experience. And we're the only ones, each and every one of us are the only ones that have the ability to release and let go. That's your practice, to release and let go with forgiveness work. And when we can do that, we tap into our deepest resource, which is the divine truth. And there we see the mirrors forever reflecting back to us. What do we need to do? What is called for here? But I want to be right. Okay, be right, but let it go. So if we refuse to continue through a lifetime to accept the circumstances, they become more hardened and crusted in our body, in our physical body, causing us illness or causing us to disrupt our relationships with one another. Emerson says, "The universe remains to the heart unhurt. This heart that is unhurt is the heart of God, the heart that God gave us, this untainted, beautiful heart that's filled with all of the qualities of the divine, that holds you in empathy and compassion. We alone, we have refused to receive that gift, but it's never been withheld. From the day we were first ushered into the world until the last moment when the soul takes its silent flight into the mystery, into the unseen, our life is drawn from an invisible source." And so that can bring us a sense of comfort. And I want to help you and myself understand as we retrace our own steps, as I talk to you, be willing to take the time yourself to find your true source, to find your way, to see through your eyes as you turn your lenses into a greater focus, to allow that one lens that sees the holy way to be that which you choose to see in the suffering of humanity. So we want to discover as well what will break our patterns, what will break our conditioning, what will break us from how it should have been. So we all carry our experiences, and I wanted to share a story of mine. And I've shared this story before, but I thought, well, they won't mind hearing it again. I've heard it for my whole life. It's repeated itself inside of me. And it's how I got into this teaching. Reverend James asked me to be that yoga teacher at a retreat, and I thought, of course. Big ego. Of course I will do that, So I packed my bag with all the right and perfect yoga outfits, so I looked cool the whole time. And then, but they said, you were part of the workshops as well, and I thought, no problem. I'm cool. Yoga teacher at this retreat, this cool place. Well, so they bring everybody up, and the whole retreat was on forgiveness. And everybody had one at the time. They'd sit in this hot seat, and they'd tell their story of what they're holding, and crying, broken hearts. And I'm thinking, well, why go there? You guys are crazy. I didn't know anybody. And so I thought, these guys, why don't they just pick something easy? I'm going to pick a doctor I don't like. And so I'm planning on this the whole time. I'm planning. I'm going to pick on that. Yeah, I'm getting a big stink up inside of me about this doctor because it's easy. It's something I can do. And then I'm the last one, almost the last one. And I get up there, and what comes out my mouth but my dad? And I'm thinking, my dad? I start bawling. I can't even speak. I'm shaking, and I'm thinking, I didn't even know I had this much energy about my dad. My dad. And so I remember thinking, I can't speak, and James says, go ahead and take your seat again. And I thought, oh, good, because I'm the yoga teacher. And so I sat down, and I thought, whew, got out of that. And then everybody finished, and he goes, Sue, come back up. And I went, oh, God. So the forgiveness work began. Forgiveness, I had to dig in deep. I didn't know how much I was holding, except my dad was an alcoholic. And I was embarrassed about his alcoholism. I was embarrassed about what he had become. And I had such angst around him, such anger when he was around my children for who he was. So the song that we sang was this. This takes me courage. And I invite you to think of what yours is. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. I forgive and I just let you live. I let you be who you are. And that is a shining star in God's heaven, in God's heaven. I had to keep singing that over and over. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. I forgive and I just let you live. I let you be who you are. And that is a shining star in God's heaven, in God's heaven. Now feel your heart. We worked it. We wept with our own story. We released balloons into the air when we didn't realize it's not a good thing to do, but with that releasing prayer. And I remember mine got hung up in a tree, and I thought, dang it. And I wanted to be free. So weeks later, my sisters, my dad's sister and my sisters and my mother, we decided to do an intervention. And if you've never done one of those, they're very challenging. My dad showed up, and I couldn't be there, but I sent the tape of I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. And I sent him my story, my sorrow, how his drinking hurt me and my children. I was embarrassed about this man in my life. I had just put it all out there. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. And they played that song. Everybody told him his story. He jiggled, he was nervous. He would jiggle his coins in his pockets. And he said, I have a problem. I will go get help. And I was like, I was at work and they called me. My sister said, he did it. He went. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. And I was so like, I remember a nice doctor, was sitting next to me, and I just started crying. And are you okay? And I said, he went. He cared enough to go. And so the healing began. Now, there was a story in the Book of Joy by Archbishop Desmond Tutu and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The Book of Joy, if you haven't read that, it's rich. And it's one that you can take your time with. But he shared, the Bishop Tutu shared his story in childhood with his alcoholic father who had abused his mother when he was drinking. And it was difficult for him to forgive his father. He shared this reflection. I was very angry with myself for being too small to beat him up. I mean, when he was sober, he was a wonderful person. But my mother I just adored my mother. She was just such an incredible human being, so gentle, and that just made it all worse. And there was a son too small to intervene when she was being roughed up. He went on to tell about his father's death at a later time and how he had felt the regret that he had not been able to have closure with him. He carried his own burden of guilt for many years, and after listening to the Archbishop, the Dalai Lama says, very quietly, "You spoke about how wonderful your father was when he was sober. It was only when he was drunk that these things happened. So it is the alcohol to blame, really. So I think even he is a very, very kind person, and that when he was drunk, he is not the real person." "Thank you," said the Archbishop. And I read that and I thought, because my dad was sober for many years, but he went back to drinking. And that triggered my block in my heart. Now, fast forward to this last week when this tribute to the president that passed, President Bush, when the glory in his name was spoken with such beautiful care from all his friends, and I thought, as it should be, as it should be. Can we all see our fellow man, our fellow woman, in those moments of the good things that we've done, of the sober things we've done? And I thought, that's what we all long for, right? Do you? Let's not be continually judged and ridiculed. Let's experience that freedom and that kindness to one another today, and to put down our weapons of hate and anger. Put them down and feel that Tao mind, that spaciousness. Of course, I want to forgive. Of course, I want to forgive. Forgiveness equals freedom. It's a process that can take a lot of effort sometimes. But Jesus reminds us to forgive 70 times 7. 2 numbers of wholeness, meaning we continue to forgive until we feel whole again. So, how are you with your forgiveness? Where is your story today? Oftentimes, we are caught longing for a better past, longing for a better dad, longing for that, longing for a better mother, better friend, better relationships, better children, better politicians, whatever it is. But sometimes we get so stuck in the story we forget to love, and we don't allow that consciousness to expand into that vibrational field where we create a matrix. It is done unto us as we believe, so let us paint that matrix with great love, with great fellowship, and bring our world into that greater idea, a world that works for all. Allow ourselves to shatter the places inside of us where we think about the anger and the conflict and the resentment that has just arisen because of our own fear. We know how our body tightens. We know how we posture. We know what it feels like to have that constriction around our heart. Our mind gets possessed. We have to be right. Forgiveness, releasing, so that power takes us to rest in a wiser heart, to rest in the noble heart. We are tapping, what Gandhi calls it, the soul force. That's awesome. Soul force. I'm so proud of this community. I'm so proud of this teaching and who we are together and how we share so authentically with one another and how we do our work, how we lean on one another and share our stories. But then what do? We allow ourselves to move until we're resting in a wiser heart. The past is over. And now we can give up a hope. This is what Stephen Levine says, a hope of a better past. I thought, wow, yeah. Once we find the courage to forgive the unforgivable, to release our heart from the grasp of another's horrific behavior, we're free. The soul force. We take back our power, and never again will that happen to you or to another. It's soul force. Powerful. It's radical. Michael Beckwith, Dr. Michael Beckwith, the Reverend from the Agape, says, in fact, you cannot determine my destiny. You cannot determine my destiny. Only my perception can determine my destiny. When I forgive you, I take my power back. When I give you back affirmative energy for something you may have done, I own my power and I own my destiny. My destiny is not in the hands of what you did or did not do to me. If we accept responsibility for our actions, we emerge out of being a victim. I am not denying that someone did something horrible. I am not sweeping anything under the rug. I am not letting them off the hook in any way, shape, or form, but I am allowing a bigger destiny to unfold. I am not the victim of what somebody did to me or what they said about me or what they called me. I am not victimized by any of that. I forgive it. I own my own power, and I move forward in my journey. Oh, can you feel that? Can you allow your posture to take into that vibrational field, this calling of each and every one of us to not only hear those words, listen to those words, but start to embody and act upon those words, to take our field of perception and to really look at the holy way and see that I am. I am that. So we forgive and we let go. And I'm going to take you now as we close. If I could have some music in the background. Thank you, Dalton. I invite you, because the practice together is you and I. You and I. These words are as personal for you as they are for me. So you close your eyes and you think, okay, some of which we have shared here today has me triggered a little bit. Okay, soften the heart, soften that field. Soften your body. This is why you're here. You're here for spiritual healing. You're here to be healed, to let go, to release, to forgive. So as the music plays, think about the ways. This is for you. What are you holding? What are you holding? And take a breath. And when that breath releases, feel it have a form to release out of you. And then the next breath, there's a little more space. There's a little more connection to the divine, to the soul, to the truth. That's you as you, born to be you, free at last. I take another breath and I let go more and more of the stories of what has been. They are no more. I no longer need to waste any time carrying it around so that I can be right about it. I am right by letting go. Forgiveness from others. There are many ways that I have hurt and harmed others, have betrayed and abandoned them, caused them suffering knowingly or unknowingly, out of my pain, out of my fear, out of my anger, out of my confusion. I remember how I have inflicted that discomfort out of my own fear, out of my own regret. And I release this burden now, and I ask at the soul of my being for absolute forgiveness. And I feel the burdens of the heart lifting, thinning, letting go. I ask for forgiveness. I ask you ask you for the forgiveness. And then I turn into myself, recognizing the forgiveness of myself is why I'm here. The layers of shame and doubt and uncertainty that have caused me to live in the subpersonalities of my way, I ask for forgiveness there. Just as I have caused suffering to others, there are many ways that I have hurt and harmed my own divine self. I have betrayed, I have abandoned myself many times in word, in thought, in deed, knowingly or unknowingly. I have done that, and I am so sorry. I am so sorry that I have done that to this precious being, to this precious life. I see the ways I have hurt or harmed, and now I picture them. I feel the sorrow, and I feel it carried from my soul. And I release this burden, and I extend forgiveness from each act of harm. One by one, I continue on this journey. I forgive myself. I am so sorry for being unskillful, unkind, inattentive. I am so sorry for the ways I have hurt myself through action or inaction out of my own fear, my pain, my confusion. I extend a full and heartfelt forgiveness. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. With me. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. I forgive and I just let you live. I let you be who you are. And that is a shining star in God's heaven, in God's heaven.